Hi, I thought I would make a video. This is for my YouTube channel on the mom series, The Misunderstanding of Multiplicity. Hi everybody, happy Saturday. This is also going to be on the Flower Species channel because I'm probably going to do a tutorial. I've got a couple things going on the hook right now. Wait a minute. Go the wrong way with that. So I found a really new, cute little gem here. Put my glasses on, it's getting dark. I'm not going to be able to see in a minute. But I found this really cool new pattern. It's not new, it's been out for about 4 years, but it's new to me. It's called the Crocus, and it's starting to take shape now, so I'm getting excited because I wasn't seeing it. I was like ripping it out, ripping it out, ripping it out, ripping it out. I'm going to give myself worse whiplash if I keep doing that. But it has some really cool stitches in it that are really new to me. They're really simple, and I almost didn't do this pattern because I thought, I don't know those stitches, they're too hard. And then I just really went and researched the stitches and practiced on a swatch and taught myself with the help of Google and all the generous people that do tutorials. So try these fun things. They really are fun, and even though it looks funky down here, I want to tell you something. When you're working with a doily, it won't look like it's going in the right shape for a while. It'll look, because it won't be until you get back to this area. Then it will. You're always working around if you're doing a round one. And they don't always work round. They go, you know, they go like geometrical and fractal, and so if you hold it up like right now, it looks like it's got a lot of ruffle right here, and that would have driven me nuts when I first started making doilies. I would have been like, why isn't it going round? It needs to go round and flat. But unless you're doing a doily with a ruffle. But then when you actually get to here, the stitches that you're doing here stretch out these and make it go into the pattern it's supposed to. So it will look like, and it's starting to right here. I've already done it. It will look like crocuses coming up. It's a really fun pattern, and it's 25 rows. And you can get a free download on. I'll list it on Ravelry or on JoanneFabrics.com. And you need number 10 or 0 fine lace. You need about 600 yards, and they tell you to use a 1.95. A 1.85 centimeter hook. I'm using a 2.0 because that's where I found my gauge. But that's all you need: measuring tape and so that's what I've been working on today. Vacuumed, I crocheted, I knitted. I gotta finish doing this. This is ridiculous. I started making this almost 10 months ago for a friend of mine, and it was in between season. And she's not in this town, so she comes into town every now and again. And it's like every 4 or 5 months she comes in town. And if it's not on a season, I started making it when it was like summer. And then the last time I saw her, it was fall. And so I had so much to do with Christmas that I said, okay, I'm just going to put this aside. And I'm going to give you this. And I'm going to work on this for next year for you. And she's like, great. And and then I saw her in June, and it still wasn't quite ready. And I could have kicked myself. And it would have been too hot in the summer to wear it. It's more like an autumn, fall thing to just wear. So I just kind of been setting it aside waiting for her to come over. And I didn't want to really finish it up and assemble it because I had these other things I was doing. So we got to giggling. I made a what's called a thinking cap, brain cap for her. Jamie, your cap is ready, by the way, from last year. It's been here. I think I made it like 2 days after you mentioned it. So for all your winter needs, it's ready. You got gray brains. It's called the brain hat, the thinking caps. Really a lot of fun. Where you make a cap, a basic skull cap, or cap that comes right to about here, like a skull cap, but you can go a little bit lower with a cuff. And then you do all these squiggly little eye cores, and you just sew them on to look like a brain. Hers is gonna look like a neon psychedelic brain because that is who she is. All right, so that's what I've been working on today. I had fallen a few weeks, about a month ago, and about three and a half weeks ago, to a month ago, and there was a lot going. I was having a lot of problems physically, where I had some kidney stones from like last April that just were still there, still giving me trouble, and I kept thinking I'm getting pain from them, but it wasn't, and finally went to the doctor in October, and she sent me for some x-rays, and I kept saying to her, I think I got even shorter because I can feel it whenever I get shorter. I'm like, I used to be 5'1", then I went to 4'11", then I was 4'10", and then all of a sudden my back was hurting so bad. And spatially I felt off, and even knitting and crocheting, I couldn't lift my arms. I felt like, oh, and I couldn't reach over my counter. I was like having to grab a bench to jump up on everything, and everything seemed higher than it should be, and my clothes were all longer. I was like, what the heck happened? I couldn't breathe right. I go to the doctor, and it's an old compound like compression fracture of the L1, and then I lost some more in those in my lumbar and thoracic. I lost some more height, so I must have hurt myself, and I probably should have like treated it back then, but I didn't know. And there's really nothing to brace it now. Would be too late. Now you just got to do physical therapy and keep going with it, but keep stretching, trying to make myself taller. That's all I can do. So I've been moving a little slow, but continuing to move. I talked to my friend last night, and I said, I'm trying to get this done for you, but I've really been like, it even hurts too. And I've been doing and continuing to do. Just don't worry about it. I want to continue to do what I need to do. Didn't help to lug 40 pounds of groceries home the other day, and then up the stairs. I'm just going up the stairs like this. 2, 3. All the way up the stairs. So I've been going to bed pretty early and just kind of taking it easy. But what did catch my attention online, and it seems like I'm online a lot, but I'm really not. I probably vacuumed for about 4 hours today. I dusted for the rest of the day. I'm in the kitchen about 14 hours a day, cooking, baking. I'm always doing. For those of you that don't know, I do bake and cook for the homeless on the fringe, is what I've always called them. The under the radar homeless. The homeless that nobody else really is serving because they don't like them. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. I'm saying that because there is a population year-round that is still down by our train tracks, under the subways, the shooting galleries, in the streets, who are as frightened as feral cats. They hang out together, and they even get their own kind of like flinch with each other. They won't enter into an establishment shelter. They won't go into a like a house of mercy or an open door, or it could be the worst hurricane out there. It could be sub-zero, and it's time to do a freeze sweep, heat sweep, whatever. And they're just terrified. They'll hide. And there's always been a group of people here, locally where I live, for over 20 years. I started serving these people in the 80s. Lost a lot of them. We try to bring them in. Occasionally we can get them into medical situations where they can get into a shelter for a while, so they're not out there in the elements. But 9 times out of 10 they'll go back out into the elements than stay. They're at more peace in their mind being outside than being in a group home with rules and regulations or in a shelter. So my dream has always been to have a little. I've always had people that would come and pick up the food to bring to them, and then sometimes I would go to them too, and we would talk over what are you going to do, where are you going to go. And over the years, I've really stopped doing that as much and going out there and being in the element myself, because I just feel like I've come to the end of that, and I will still keep doing what I can for people, but I can't do that kind of outreach anymore, even on a volunteer, which has always been under the radar volunteer. There's always been a group of social workers, a group of human service workers, a group of motivational behavioral community workers that I've hung with from the early 80s, and a group of people that are in the church community that we all get together and we cook. We cook a bunch of turkeys off. We have people over for Thanksgiving. We do what we need to do. And serve where you can. And so this is like my busy time of year, because there's a lot going on in my own personal life, and then with Thanksgiving and Friendsgiving, and I always try to adopt 3 families, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that this year because the turkeys haven't gone on sale yet that I can see. But also, where I live, they came and covered up the air conditioners, and I live upstairs. So when it's like 37 outside, it's like 90 in here. If I even turn on my stove at all, it's 100. Even with the windows open, I don't get a cross breeze. So, man, you cut into my busiest time by closing the air conditioning up so early. It's still warm. I'm having a very warm October. It's going to be 80 tomorrow. So it's been a busy time. I got a lot to do, and I kind of overcommitted myself with volunteer, but I don't mind. It'll keep me busy. And I just want to say I noticed the Me Too movement, and I think it's a phenomenal thing that women and men, I don't want to just say women, because men are coming forward and saying Me Too. And good for you for speaking up. And transgender, male to female, female to male, gay, lesbian, everyone, aged. I saw a Me Too post the other day from a 74-year-old woman. I saw a Me Too post from a person in a church environment who's considered a pastor, who's in his 50s and never said Me Too. So, while there's people that are like, okay, this Me Too has gotten too much, stop with all your storytelling, people. I think the original intent of the Me Too, from the originator, the genesis of it, was beautiful in that a 6-year-old girl was trying to get her attention. She was caring for this 6-year-old girl in the capacity that she was in, and she was in her 20s, and she had her own abuse issues, and this little girl was trying to get her attention and tell her. And believe me, when someone's trying to tell you something like that, and that's what the original gal that started the Me Too back 10, 11 years ago said is, I knew what she was going to say, and I couldn't hear it. I just kept saying, I can't talk to you now, baby, I can't talk to you, because she knew what she was going to say. And she knew it was going to touch her own stuff. But she wished she could have just said, Me Too. At least. To let her know she'd been heard, and that her words were brave. So there are a lot of women out there that are now bashing women that are saying Me Too. There are women that are shaming women and saying, oh, that's not abuse, when they're sharing their moment of Me Too, of what. And women don't have to share their story. Men don't have to share the details of their story. Nobody has to share their story. All they have to say is Me Too. Keep in mind, though, if you decide to go me too with a hashtag, this is what I was thinking is, because I've already had 2 people, male and female, mention this, is that when they did hashtag me too, their family and their friends did not know about it, and this was the safest way they thought they could do that, and they were met with when, who, what, where, and they weren't ready for that. So it's something to think about, like always when you self-disclose anything. You need to be in control of how much you share. And if you just want to say me too and leave it there, fine. If you can disable your comments, if you're worried about somebody coming along and saying, what are you talking about, what? The best thing we can do for each other, only in my opinion, and I can only go by my experience, and that's all I can go by, is, and what people write to me and all my experience with them too, is that all we need to do is either say me too back, or send a hug or a heart, or say I'm sorry that happened to you, or thank you for being brave. If you're another soul survivor of sexual abuse, of molestation, of abuse of power, of being despitefully used in a sexual way because one person had either authority over you and they went past your boundaries, it really is a human. It's about being human. It's about knowing another person's boundaries and respecting a person's no. Now, one of the things I thought about is when people get to telling their stories, a lot of times family members and friends will hear it or whatever, or people that were there, and they'll discount it and say, no, that didn't happen or whatever. Keep in mind that when an abuser abuses a person, when there's been alcohol involved, when they've been at a party, maybe it's a date rape, maybe it's a husband that would not hear his wife's no, maybe it's a wife that just would not hear her husband's no, I'm tired tonight, honey. Maybe it's a stranger in the alley, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's an uncle, an aunt, a sibling. When we as humans go too far with another person, I don't believe we really can handle that. We actually, what came out of our mouth came out of our mouth, that we hit, that we stomped our feet, or that we grabbed somebody. And a lot of times, the same trauma that will make a person that happens to forget and put it someplace far away from their memory, like far away, an abuser will do the same thing. They'll say, the person being accused, they'll say, I didn't do that. They're lying. They're lying. And I mean, they really will. Never, no matter how much proof you give them, all the proof right there. And they'll still say, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Now, either they really don't remember because they were inebriated or on a drug or something, or they were traumatized so bad that they really don't remember. And I think we forget that when we're confronting people that have hurt us. Anyway, that we don't realize that when we hurt others, we don't keep that in the forefront of our mind. We put it someplace safe and deny it. And I know I'm guilty of that. And so I like to keep that in mind when people are saying, well, that didn't happen to so-and-so. And when people are reacting to other people's stories and saying me too, and they're really reacting powerfully, and they're really, really reacting to, well, shut up already, oh, so what with your me too, enough, blah, 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 blah. They're really reacting to their own stuff. They still have a little person in there that is hurt and reacting. And that's why they're saying, I don't want to hear you. They're saying, grow up, all of you. Get over it. Stop being a victim. And this may be the very first time anybody has ever had a safe forum or way to say something without saying the whole thing. And to even acknowledge it. And that's a big step. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes and say, don't say it. What I would say to people is, if you come from a very Mediterranean family like I do or whatever, if you're going to say me too, you might get some questions if you never shared that with everybody. There might be, and you got to be ready for that. And you don't have to answer those questions. Oh, no, you don't. And just know you don't have to. But like, if you come from a family where you have very protective people that are going to jump in and be like, when, where, who? Think about that, because you might get those questions. And then what else I wanted to say is, this isn't anything to do with Harvey Weinstein. It really isn't. And the originator of this Me Too really wanted to make that clear. Although Alyssa Milano and celebrities began with this, and I'm not saying the motive is money, but keep in mind there are all kinds of lawsuits going on with Harvey Weinstein, with Fox, with allegedly abuser Bill Cosby, with people that have abused or alleged. There are people that are going to gain a great deal of money by just saying Me Too. And then there are people that will never be compensated here on this earth, or even believed, or even listened to. And that's what the originator was saying, is there's a certain kind of abuse, there's a certain color of skin, there's a certain sex that we, an age, a circumstance that we say, oh, okay, that's a person that was abused, and they have a right to tell their story, and everybody else just shut up. Oh, not that situation. That's not really abuse. And oh well, look how they grew up, look what they're around, look where they were. Oh, that person was loose. That person's a prostitute. Guess what? You're a prostitute. You still got a right to say no. You're married to a man. You still got a right to say no. You're a female to male, male to female, transgender. You're not asking for it. Oh, no, you're not. But that is what the originator, I want to get her name right, so I'm just going to say Tamara. I'm going to go list her name. She's a beautiful lady. Is saying is, there's blame assigned, and there's who we're going to believe and not, and what a victim should look like and should act like, and all of those things are assigned culturally, and all we really need to do is just be human and say me too, if it did happen to us, or I'm sorry that happened to you. That's it. So I think it's been a beautiful thing. I think that we are all hopefully learning that how we touch people in life, hug people, could hurt them or could heal them. How we talk to people could hurt them or heal them. So we really do have more power than, like power to really do wonderful things with our life. So, I'm going to go do some more wonderful things and hopefully knit this up and assemble it. And wash it and block it. And thank you for listening. And just know that if you were out here saying me too, and here's the other thing. I saw one gal saying, well, these people are all acting like they should get like an award when they say me too. Like they want a pat on the back, or they want a brave award or a warrior award. No. I think there's some that, sure, They live their life in that. But there are so many that I know have never wanted to even approach the subject. Like, if you even tried to say to them anything about it, they were like, don't talk about it. I don't hear you. Or just walk away. They would not even, I mean, you could not even, they would stay away from people that might know, so that it was never brought up. They don't want to be victim. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to know it. They don't want to remember it. And they have finally stood up and said, me too. And they do not need to be interrogated and it all to be categorized of what is and what isn't and what happened. Just acknowledge their me too. Alright, that's all I want to say. And again, not all women. There's a lot of elderly out there abused. Keep in mind, a lot of vulnerable, a lot of homeless, a lot of elderly that depend on others to take care of their needs are truly being, they need to have a voice too. So if anything, it's raised the consciousness, and there's been a bit of a shift in the universe, I hope, to heal everyone. That's all I'm going to say. Now that 3 dog nights in the background singing Joy to the World. Jeremiah was both of. Okay, so I'm going to go now. That's my music, YouTube. Don't shut it off. Alright, take care. Have a beautiful weekend. And happy autumn again. Bye-bye. And me too.